Hi fam, today is day 132 and I'm trying to discover a story or create a craft or a draft of the next speech that I'm gonna give. It is about life telling you not to give up. It's about a higher being doesn't want you to give up and finish what you started. So I'm trying to tell you the story. I'm gonna try to tell you the story of it, and I'm gonna make the first draft right now. That way it'll be more easier to organize it. So this is gonna be the story. What happened was I found myself one time watching a Facebook Live. I believe I just got home from work, or maybe not. If I try to recall, I probably already quit at my job at that time. I was so ready to go home. I was so ready to go home to the Philippines. I was in Jacksonville, Florida at that moment, and then I saw the Facebook Live. The ticket is already in. My mom organized the room that I'm gonna have to stay at. And what happened was there's a live feed where there's some burning houses, and first it's quite a shock about what's happening, because it's actually close. The fire's close to my house. It's in our street. So then the Facebook Live feed got shut down, and what happened was the next day my mom and my sister told me that the house is ruined. At least the second floor is ruined, and basically all of the things that in the second floor got burnt. And when after I was informed about that situation, what happened was I definitely laughed, or at least smiled, because I've learned that God wants me to do something, or basically finish what I started. So that was 2023, and 3 years prior to that happening, I posted on Facebook that I'm gonna be the best speaker that I could possibly be in 5 years, and that's what I'm doing for a living. I'm gonna impact people's lives through the voice and powerful words and speeches, influencing people to live a fulfilled and growth and flourishing life. And I struggled with my journey a lot. I was working as a caregiver at that time. I was so fed up about the job. I hate the job itself. I don't hate the people. I love the people. I've learned to love even more, serve people even better. I believe I became a high road leader. I was introduced the concept of a high road leader at that time before the book even came out by John Maxwell. So I've learned how to serve, be patient and resilient, and but along the way as I am growing myself, developing myself, I'm going to the gym, working out, trying to eat healthy, and read a lot of books and podcasts, researching about how I can be paid to speak. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm driven. I'm so driven and hungry about it. I really wanted to make it happen. Plus, years prior to that declaration, probably 2018, I was in a conference. I was in a conference, attending a church conference, and the speaker talked about my purpose, about how God wants to use me, asking him about that. But what happened was, that day was a confirmation for me that I gave up my life for his purpose, where I told myself, okay, because at that time we were tasked to write down what it is that God wants us to do, and I wrote it down. It says, okay, God, I want to be a speaker. I'm praying for this now. I'm giving up my life to you. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna serve you. I'm gonna glorify you through the gifts that you've been given me. So that would happen. Now, fast forward to the 2020, which is 3 years prior to that, to the disaster. What happened was, my dad is contradicting what I'm trying to do. He basically against what I'm trying to do. He thinks that I wasting my time, and he preferred for me to insist for me to become a nurse or join the military, for me to be able to live a fruitful life the way he expected his life probably wanted to become. So, but I'm against that, because I already had the confirmation. I had the conviction about how I wanted to live my life, about serving people through speaking. So against it. He became manipulative. He wants me to live the life of basically a normal life, which is I don't want to. I don't want to live a life from other people's expectations. So I refused that idea. He became manipulative. He wants me to, because during at that time I was paying my bills. I was contributing at the bills of the house, and so I was giving half of my salary to him. And there was a time when I purchased a computer. We purchased a computer in the Best Buy, and I had it installment. We had it installment. I was charged. His credit card was charged, and I was so consistent about paying it monthly, twice the agreed payment. And what happened was, a couple months after, I really thought I was close to paying it off, but then what happened was, he gave me the receipt when nothing is paid to the account. Nothing's paid to the loan, and so really pissed me off, because given the fact that he's have this vice where he is gambling. He's basically a everyday customer at the casino, and that sucks, because he, first of all, he lied to me. He doesn't support my dream and all those sorts of things. And then this is the last straw that broke the camel's back. It was when I had an accident with his car, which is my fault. Really, it was my fault. And what happened was, he wants me to pay that off. He wants me to pay off the Sequoia 2008 or something, or 2005. He wants me to pay that off, and then after that, because this is gonna be getting longer, but I expected that to be longer. So what happened was, what happened was, I was driving that, and I was driving his car on the way to work. Then I got an accident. I had an accident. I crashed his car, and then after that, he wants me to pay that off. He wants me to pay off the car that he bought 10 years ago to the original amount of it, without depreciating the value of it, because he wants me to pay basically the sentimental value of the car, which I don't understand that. First of all, he is acting in a way that he's acting in a way that I'm not part of his family. I don't know if it's trying to discipline me or something, but I disagree with all his idea. But then I prayed about it. I let go. I give it up. I give it up. I tell God, help me out. And then I'm in a point where, am I being manipulated, or am I enabling this person, or am I being manipulated, or is this kind of forgiveness or understanding my dad, or loving him despite of the financial difficulties that we're having, ignoring the red flags basically. But I choose to settle for his terms. And then what happened was, we were trying to find a different car. I mean, the same car, almost the same or similar to that car. What happened was, he basically chose to buy a fancy truck, a red fancy truck, and he didn't even consult my opinion about it. But I hate the idea, because first of all, it was expensive, and second of all, it was super expensive on the gas. You will barely going to be using it. It's like a flex or design or something. It's like, for him, it's a sense of success, but for me, it's a sense of poor decision, and I really disagree with that. But still, I respected his wants. I I honored his decision, but I had a boundary where this is what I'm gonna pay, and I accepted it. But then after couple of weeks after, he's reaching out to me and saying, Finn, we needed to I is it okay if you increase the monthly payment, because the car was really expensive the way it's more than I expected it to become. The price is super expensive. It's expensive to the gas, and then there you go. Where that's when it pissed me a lot. So ignoring those red flags early on, but then the last straw, the last straw was that was the last straw where he is trying to manipulate those things into what he wants. So I refused that idea. We argued. I almost settled for it, but then I let out my feelings where I told him that, you know, I could agree with that. I could agree, but then I'm gonna think that you think that I'm your cash cow. I'm no longer your son. The way you act is, I'm no longer your son. You're treating me as your side income or something, and that sucks. That's the reality I'm in. So that was the last straw. But then, so he burst out too. He fought back, which I would understand that given his nature. He's easily anger. He could be easily angry. He is impulsive. So what happened was, for long story short, we were in the same company. We were working at the same company. He was a nurse. I was the less of a nurse, like a caregiver. And then what happened was, I basically I want to work still, but the problem was he doesn't want me to go. He doesn't want me to go with him because we fought, right? So, but I was carpooling with him. But after that carpooling, I was carpooling with him. But what happened was, he just left me without saying anything. So I don't have any means or ways of going to work. I was so ready. I already had my scrubs on, and then he left me. I don't have any choice. Uber could be a choice, but I don't know how to do that at that time. And so what happened was, okay, that moment, I sent an email that I'm resigning. I'm putting in my immediate resignation. I talked to my cousin here in Jacksonville. I was in California at that time. I talked to my cousin in Jacksonville, and so I was so glad that he basically saved me from the trouble. So what happened was, I have a family here. I have mom's sister, and my cousins. So what happened was I basically put in my time, I basically put my flights on. This is getting longer than it's supposed to be, but it's fine. This is the first draft. So what happened was I scheduled my flight like 2 to 3 days prior to my flight. That's the flight that I chose. It's like, it cost probably $400. And at that time I had a friend, a coworker, who let me in his house, in his home, to stay for a while before I go to to Jacksonville. That way my dad won't be seeing me before he left home, because basically I left him without saying anything. And you know what? It's basically me doing the payback. It was a payback for me, because he'd done that a lot during my younger years. When I was a child, when I was a kid, he did that so often without saying anything. So I basically done the same, and I was so hurt. You know, before I went out of the apartment, I was speaking. I was in my phone. I remember I was facing my phone, looking at his pictures and telling him, if you weren't that kind of dad, if you were more compassionate and more loving, I would have stayed. But some people, sometimes we grow apart, and it's gonna hurt my brain a lot if I stayed. If I chose to stay, it's gonna hurt my brain a lot. I probably would have gotten a mental illness or something. So basically, the culture of our family is super transactional. No one's listening to me. After work, they want me to do the household chores, cook things, clean up, swipe the floor, and all those cleaning up stuff. And then working, while my sister, at that time, she was studying. She's a teenager. She got these friends, and so sometimes while I was sleeping, she was having this conversation with her friends on her phone. And sometimes she was so passionate about about her advice, or her conversations, in a way that I don't know if she's really insensitive, or she was just becoming, or trying to gain attention or something, but she was screaming while I was sleeping. And that didn't happen just once. It's almost every time I was asleep, she was screaming. She was shouting, super passionate about the conversation, in a way that I'm a light sleeper, and so I immediately getting surprised and jumped from sleep because of that. And that sucks. That's what I hate. So that was so toxic to me. hurt my brain a lot. And so after I went to Jacksonville, to fast forward to going to Jacksonville, I was in there living. My cousin at that time let me in his house. I had my own room. I was so happy that I had a peace and I could sleep really well. Fast internet and all those sorts of lifestyle or ideal life that I want to be. And also one of the things that I really miss is the hospitality of a Filipino. That's what I've missed. And it almost like I felt them again. I've being revived from those sucky situations. So it's getting really longer, but I promise you I'm gonna get to the point soon. So what happened was, my cousin's wife backed me up about work. So I basically work at a warehouse, and then I was packing at that time. It was super repetitive, and you cannot help it but think of negative ways or negative thoughts, because it was a 12-hour shift, 3 times a day and 3 times a week, which is a good thing. But you cannot help it but realize that I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there every day. There are times where I was crying after the shift that I'm a hardworking person. I worked hard. But after the shift, I was so drained. I was so exhausted. My brain is full of negative thoughts about my dad, blaming him, blaming my situation in the California, and all those unfortunate circumstances that I've experienced. And then there's this dream that I told myself that I'll become the best speaker that I could possibly be, but I'm still not there. And so I was in a verge of giving up. I'm thinking probably God doesn't want me to do this. Maybe I'm not cut out for speaking. He doesn't want me to speak, and he doesn't want me to stay here. All those unfortunate things are happening to me. And I really thought that it was basically life trying to stop me from what I'm trying to do. So back to the first story that I've shared, was that I booked my flight. I settled. I just wanna relax and settle, give up, get back on my comfort zone, which is the Philippines, because you can live there without working. You can eat without working, just every day you can survive. In here you can't. I understand this country is a fast paced, and you're all your own. You cannot live here if you don't work. But back home, I can survive. I can just basically do nothing and then eat. So fast forward, I booked my flight. I talked to my mom. I was she understands. She's supporting me. She is really supporting since day one. Since I got my conscious brain up, understand things. She probably babied me before, so she babied me, so probably that was why I struggle a lot with this kind of change, trying to be independent in my life. So but I don't blame her. I really love her. I love how she is super supportive. I've loved all the experience that she've given me. I appreciate it so much. So I booked my flight the morning. I booked my flight. I told her she fixed the room. She fixed the room that I'm gonna be in, the room our house that I left prior to coming to America. So, and then a couple hours later, evening at night, there's the news where there's burning at my house. The exact room that I'm staying in got burnt first. It's not where the fire originally ignited. It was just caught in the fire accident. So, but the funny thing is that that exact room is what really is burning. It burnt first before anything else. That exact room that I'll be staying in got burned, and that was why it was so funny to me, the way where God is telling me, I'm not finished with you yet. I'm not finished with you yet. You have to finish what you started. I have to finish what I started. I set myself up to become the best speaker that I could possibly be. Obviously, fast forward 5 years. This is the 5 years. 5 years ago of me telling myself that in 5 years I'll be the best speaker that I could possibly be, and it didn't happen yet. But I've realized that I should not give up, and at the same time, my time frame is different than the God's time frame. God's timing is far more better. Mine is shortcut. And so I believe that I may not be where I want to be yet. I may not be where I want I may not be where I set myself up to be 5 years ago. But one thing I understood with that circumstances, He wants me to stay here. He wants me to follow through. He wants me to act upon the things that I set myself up to be, that God and me talked about. And what I prayed for in that conference, I wrote it down. I wrote down to become a speaker, where God is laying out the plans, and He will make me realize those plans along the way, so long as I don't give up. And it was so funny to me. The reason why is because He wants me to really stay. He doesn't give me. He gives me an option not to quit. God gave me an option not to quit, and that's basically it. That's basically the story that I'm trying to give to you guys. That do not wait for God to tell you not to quit, because you are meant for something more. I am meant for something more. His plans are better than my plans, and so guess that's it for today. This is so long. I'm thinking not to upload it because I became vulnerable about that story, and my story, that story, it might come off as my dad's really the bad guy, but he is. I think he was at that moment, but he has his own reasons. So I basically forgiven him after that vacation. I had a vacation. I still went to the Philippines despite of my room being burned down. I stayed to someone else's house for like almost 6 months. But one thing I've realized is that I am not. I just have to rest and had a vacation, but God is still not done with me yet. So yeah, God is not done with me yet. He wants me to finish what I've started, and so probably I'm gonna post this. I'm probably gonna realize what I've talked about before. It could hurt my family. I don't care anymore. I just want to shine the light, not by cursing the darkness, but telling you the truth of what happened to me, at least in my own narrative of what happened. So see, that's it for now. Good job.